Hey guys, in this video I'm going to respond to an Instagram comment or response that I had to one of my polls that I put out last week of kind of topics you guys wanted to see. And this one is James Bentley. He wanted to see my thoughts on change, whether I see it as a positive thing or whether I see it as more of a chaotic or negative thing. And I'm going to link James's Instagram and YouTube below because I think that he has some really interesting insights as well, and I think he deserves more people to watch or look at his stuff because he's very creative and very talented in my opinion. But anyways, I mostly see change as a positive thing, and I don't think this was always that way for me. And I have to say that when it comes to change, I'm typically very slow with changes, particularly growing up. Like, if I have like a goal or something, if I have something in mind that I want to do or something that a change that I want to implement, it's typically very slow or it's kind of under the table. In the sense that I don't really show what I'm trying to do to the public. It's more of a private thing for me. I may talk about it with certain people, but I don't really talk about a lot of the changes that I'm wanting to make or I'm making with people typically. And I don't know, sorry, I don't know if this is like an INFJ thing or if this is just like a me thing where I kind of like to make changes or grow behind closed doors, if that makes sense. I like to do things and I don't know, do things that I don't even know if this makes sense honestly, but it's kind of like smoke and mirrors, and I actually want to make a video about smoke and mirrors. Like, I've just always wanted to not really show people the stuff that I'm doing and then just kind of pop out of nowhere. And I don't always think that's a good thing. But going back to change itself, I think that if you decide to put a positive thing in your life, like a positive change, so for example, eating healthier or exercising or positive meditation or, you know, journaling, different things like that, or even just getting in the habit of complimenting people, because you would be surprised how much that not only does for other people but it also does for yourself. And I'm not saying that, like, for example, if I say, you know, I like someone's outfit, that I'm like, oh, I'm such a good person, let me pat myself on the back for saying that. It's just spreading positivity. So I think adding certain things like that to your life, or even, you know, drinking tea or something instead of coffee, which, you know, I drink coffee. I also do really love tea, but it's hard to change. And I think especially when you get older, I've noticed as I've gotten older, there's certain habits that are a little bit harder to change. And I've heard things like, if you have like a habit, you want to replace that habit instead of trying to completely eradicate the habit altogether. So let's say you're a smoker and you're addicted to cigarettes, or nicotine, should I say, maybe adding something else into your life and taking away the cigarettes, or whatever you use to get that fix, replacing it with something positive, maybe like exercising, or, you know, certain things like that, that could be a positive change. And I think you can even change the way you're perceived to other people, or even how you perceive yourself. So for example, I've talked about this so many times, I feel like a broken record. I feel like a broken record about a lot of stuff, but this is something that I've talked about a lot. In high school and before, I was very quiet and I didn't talk to very many people. And I also had very high anxiety, so I would have like anxiety / panic attacks pretty regularly, like, I mean, at least once a week, but they became like a daily occurrence, especially like if there's a lot of stressful things that were happening, or if I just felt a lot of pressure. It was just something that happened, and I cried very often in school, and people thought I was very weird because of that. And didn't help because I was very quiet as well, and I just wasn't really, you know, I had a lot of things kind of going against me in that regard. But anyways, when I went to college, I kind of, you know, the majority of the people that I went to high school weren't going to the same college as me, / university. They weren't going to the same university, so I kind of felt like I could start anew. I think a lot of people think that when they go to college, and, you know, some people, I would say a lot of people, maybe they reinvent themselves in some ways, because I did see a lot of people, and if you've ever gone to like university or college, you probably have recognized this, how even like if you know someone before that, you can see how they've changed, even just like their freshman year, their first year of university. But mine was a very extreme change in the sense that I went from not talking to many people at all to knowing feeling like I know too many people, because my university now has like 35,000 students. When I started out, I think it had 26 or maybe less than that, 26,000. And that's still like a pretty large school or university. But because I put myself out there, I made the change of trying to be more outgoing and trying to join things that were out of my comfort zone, because I've said this before, but I joined a lot of organizations. The ones that really changed my life, well, the one in particular was Model United Nations, joining Model United Nations. I went to one of the first meetings of that first semester of college, and the reason why I went to that was not only because I wanted to actually be better around people and not get anxious all the time, and I wanted to be able to learn how to speak in front of people, and just work on those kind of interpersonal skills that I really didn't expose myself to beforehand. The main reason why I joined that particular club was my friend Patrick. Well, at the time he wasn't my friend, but he went in front of our Chinese class and he said, "Oh, would you like to join Model UN?" Basically, like, kind of recruiting people. He's like, "We're gonna go to Geneva, Switzerland in the spring," and I'm like, I want to go to Geneva, Switzerland. We didn't end up going to Geneva, Switzerland. We ended up going to Milan, Italy. But I mean, Milan, Italy was really cool. But anyways, pushing myself and making myself do that, because before that I had never done anything like that, and I really wasn't that concerned. I mean, I like traveling, but I wasn't that concerned with international politics or, you know, diplomatic relations of different countries or nations. And doing that really changed my life in a lot of ways. It was not always the best. I met some of the worst people. Some of the worst people that I met in college, I met through Model UN. But also some of the best people I met in college, I met through Model UN. So it's interesting. But that was a big change for me, and it wasn't just Model UN that I put myself out there. I also was one of those people, and I would recommend this for anybody that is living in the dorms of their university, is just when you first move in, just kind of greet people in your dorm. You don't have to be friends with those people, and in fact, a lot of the people you meet freshman year, you're not going to be friends with throughout the rest of your college experience or your career as a college student. But just being exposed to different people and kind of getting to know people and just putting yourself out there, getting out of your comfort zone, changing, that can be very helpful. And I think because I made such a drastic change when I was, a late teenager, it really transferred over into my adult life, my early adult life. Because of those little things, I became more confident, and that really had a huge impact on me. And that's why I say that sometimes it's harder to change when you it is a lot harder to change sometimes it is when you get older, because there's more things in your life, it's more complicated, and also you're more set in your ways. But when you're a teenager or a child, it's easier to implement those things. And I would even say when you're in your early 20s or even 20s in general, it's a lot easier to put those changes into motion. And that's kind of where I'm still at. I mean, there's many things that I still am trying to work on. One of the biggest things that I am really going to start working on is kind of my personal fitness. I've always been like slimmer or skinny, and I've never been overweight. Like, for my size, the heaviest I've been is like right at normal weight. I've always been kind of underweight, but it doesn't look weird on me. I would even say that when I was at that like quote unquote normal weight, according to my BMI, I felt like it just didn't feel like good on me, and I felt a lot more sluggish and stuff. And I'm not saying that everybody should be a certain way. Just personally, my body is different. I just have kind of a smaller frame than other people, so I really want to not lose weight. I definitely don't need to lose weight, but I want to become healthier in the sense of building more muscle and toning up a little bit more. And so that's one of my biggest things that I'm trying to change about myself. And I've noticed a lot of changes of people around me. Like, for example, my sister's changed a lot. My sister Anna, and she's younger than me, but I really look up to her. I've said this in videos, but she's changed a lot. My stepsister Heather has changed a lot. Like, sometimes change can be a bad thing, but I think if you really put in the dedication and the effort to put in positive changes, it can happen. It's just, sometimes it is harder. I think also when you're not in a relationship, it's easier to implement certain changes, but when you get in a relationship, it's like you have that other person. It doesn't always have to be that way. For example, I don't feel limited just because I'm in a relationship. We may discuss things. By the way, I don't think I've explicitly said this on my channel. I think it's pretty obvious, but I'm dating Frank James, so I don't know if you guys have seen that, and I will also link his channel in the description below for those of you who haven't seen him for whatever reason. I would assume that you guys have watched his channel, and he's really awesome and a really great guy, and I think you guys would love his channel. But that's my little plug for him. But anyways, you don't have to become stagnant when you're in a relationship or a certain situation. I would say that environment does play a part. and you know, certain factors, if you're in surrounded by a lot of negative people, I think it's hard to change for the better. And I would recommend trying to get out of certain environments, because just doing a physical change like that can also change you within, and for both ends of the spectrum. When I was in Seattle, Seattle's a great city, and I think a lot of people love it. I mean, I know a lot of people love it, but it really wasn't great for me because, and I'm gonna make a video about this, but you know, it's very depressing, especially if you already suffer with depression. It's like 10 months out of the year, it's pretty gloomy, at least for me, and that was hard. And I definitely was not, you know, now that I'm in South Carolina and I'm in a different environment, I realize how different that was being there. But yeah, I have to go, but hopefully this video was helpful in whatever way. I kind of don't know how coherent this video was. And also, again, subscribe to James's channel, James Bentley, and also check out his Instagram and follow him. And also, if you haven't already checked out Frank James's channel, go ahead and subscribe to him as well, because again, he's a great guy and you guys should. And if you guys have any video recommendations that you want us to do, because Frank and I will eventually do videos together on my channel and on his channel, just let me know in the comments below. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.